Hey everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we're here now. Want to welcome you to our second episode of our Arium RPG actual play. Today we're going to build on what we started last week when we put together a really cool Arium. This group, this great cast here, put together an awesome Arium. It is very Wild West inspired with dragons and also some other crazy stuff, like maybe some technology and things like that. But I'm going to get into some of that. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. But really quick, just so that we have it, because I'm experimenting with some new stuff today. We have new tech, so we have a fancy overlay. I just want to have everybody go through and just introduce themselves really fast. And I'll start. So first off, I'm Will. I'm the GM, and I am the owner of Adept Icarus. And to my right on the screen, I don't know if you guys are actually watching on YouTube, so I'll say Emily.
Me?
Yeah.
Hey! Oh, you went mute for me. I couldn't tell what you just said. Am I supposed to introduce myself now?
Oh, yeah, just say you. I'm me.
Okay. Hi, I'm me, otherwise known as M, or Anthrama. I'm about on the internet doing streams of video games or TTRPGs. And I hope you enjoy this stream because it's awesome.
Great. And Katie?
Same as M, except almost not. I'm Katie. I go on by Winchester on the internet, and I do all the things that Emily does, and I'm excited to keep going on this Western.
Awesome. And Drew?
Hey everybody, I'm Drew, also known as Word Drew on the internet, co-creator of Arium with Will and Natasha Entz, and just really excited to be here.
Cool. And Adam?
Hi, I'm Adam, and I love RPGs.
Yay. All right. So this is our group, and I think really quick, probably our best thing to do is let's step right in and take a look at what we created last time. And I'm going to do that by showing it on the screen. So here we go. So last time we created a Weird West high adventure Arium, and it has dragons. We set up some lacunae, which we said we wanted to veil sex. We wanted a line around child abuse, so we don't even want it to exist. We want no modern politics in our game, and no violent player versus player type of things. In addition, we went on to define some items that are more big picture items. So we said, and I gave this a name, so we live in the Untamed West, and the Untamed West is called the Holiday Territories. There are ancient ruins where some discoveries have been made. Those discoveries include technology, which didn't really exist to speak of in our modern world, but there is ancient technology. And we also discovered that dragons were a central part of that technology, but they destroyed that ancient civilization. The next item is that gold and iron have been discovered in the mountains, and inventors are running wild, creating new from old. So they're taking the old technology and they're building on it and making new things, and it's everywhere. Ubiquitous. The next part is we define some cultures and organizations. So a few of those. The Dust Girls are fierce and well-trained scouts. We have Magikers, surplus franchises springing up everywhere, and they have goodies galore for a price. We have the Technomancer Academy, which is the authority on ancient tech, and they actually are the ones that send people out to archaeologize those ancient civilizations, those ruins. And we also have Dusters and Dragons, which is a new chain of taverns that's been opening up across the territories. Finally, we have some landmarks. We have the Crossroads, which is never far from anywhere, somehow. We also have the Dragonspine Mountains, Great Wurms Peak, which is a part of those mountains, but an important part. We have Tiverton. It's fine. Nothing to know there. Tiverton's fine. It's great. And we have the Dust Tower and Dr. Aegon's Magicker's Miracles. So, that is what we came up with as a group. What I want to show you now is the rest of our board that we put together last time. And when we put this together, we did it with Arium Create. And hopefully you can see that. It's not too small. I might actually bigify it just a touch, just in case. Did that big at all? Okay. And so if I scroll back to the left, you can see all the stuff I just mentioned, but we're not going to talk too much about that anymore. What we want to talk about is the people that we introduced into this Arium, and also the goodies, because we're about to get ready to start role-playing, and we want to have our players... Oops, and I didn't transition to the view, so let me do that. Now you can see it. Okay, so here are our people and our goodies, and our cast is now going to have an opportunity to claim some of those items, and so we're going to go through the exercise of doing that. So that includes... So here's what they're going to get to do. All of them will get to... Ooh, this is a little different online than it was in person. So I'm going to ask... So what we do when we play this in person is we play it on sticky notes, which I mentioned a few times last time around. So we play it on sticky notes. We put down these ideas, and then when it comes time to claim, we have people put their symbol on that idea a second time. But when we play online, usually it doesn't really work that way. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll let our players take turns, and we'll go around the same order that we did introductions. And so what I would like them to do is say, I intend to select this person. We'll stop at each person individually. So we'll start with M. If you would, what is your first choice for a claim of a person to be your character? Or you could also create a character on the fly from scratch that doesn't have any relationship to any of these existing people.
I think I'm going to go with Susie Callahan.
Susie Callahan. All right.
Yeah.
Did we have anyone else in the group that would like to play Susie Callahan? I gotta find her.
What if her catchphrase is smooth jazz? Do you want to play her then, Drew?
Smooth jazz. Is she Mrs. Callahan? No, she's down at the bottom. Okay.
Down at the bottom.
Wow, there are so many Callahans in this game. This is gonna be awesome.
Nope, there's only two. Mr.
Oh.
Callahan was not voted in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smooth jazz.
So Susie
Nice.
Callahan. Any other takers for Susie Callahan? Okay. If we have a conflict later, we'll resolve it. I'll show you guys how that all works. But right now, I just want to drag this over to your card. There we go. All right. Let's move on. Katie, what do you got?
I was thinking Hickory Howard is who I want to take.
Hickory Howard. All right.
Double H.
Double H.
Double H. He's a mighty fine entertainer. All right. Anyone else interested in Hickory Howard? No one want to try and steal Hickory Howard? Okay. Let's move Hickory over. And move on to Drew.
Ooh, can I defer to Adam?
I would love that. Adam?
Okay. So many options.
So many.
There really are.
Yeah. Y'all created a lot of people, and it's gonna make it fun for me. I won't have to come up with any names during this game.
Oh, life finds a way.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, that's an inside joke for those that watch the Pendragon stream over on Tales Off the Table. Often people come up that don't have names yet, and, we figure it out.
I can't bring myself to watch it.
It's
just,
my accent, isn't it?
No, it's because I want to play in it so bad.
Drew, you could just come trolling with me. That's all I
Fine.
sit and do.
I think I'll go with Dr. Albrecht Strauss.
Dr. Albrecht Strauss.
The Strauss.
What do you think, Drew? Is that one that you wanted? No?
He has a much better / worse accent than I do for Dr. Strauss. So I think he should take it.
Okay. We'll put Dr. Strauss with Adam. And what do you got, Drew?
Oh, man, I'm so torn, Will.
Who are you torn between?
I am torn between Old Abe, he's a tinker, and Phylactery.
Phylactery.
The OG imbuer of the dragon flame weapons.
Okay.
Oh, then there's Finster, the man of many packs. Jeez.
Yeah, Finster, man, that guy, you never know what he's got in his pack, eh?
I know. He's just like, he's always got the thing you need right when you need it for a price. Is there anybody that's off limits per story arc, Will? Oh, well, I shouldn't ask it that way, but like, is there anybody you don't want me touching?
I mean, we'd have to talk about it if you wanted to be Ulshand, eldest of the Dragon Lords.
No, I was going to jokingly say I would want to play that, but I knew that. No, that's got to be an NPC for sure.
Yeah.
I've thought about this, and so I'm going to say that I will be Phylactery.
Okay.
Oh, here.
There we go.
Is this a point where you could spend a creation token to combine two if you felt so inclined?
Not yet, but that's coming up. We're gonna do so you get these for free actually. So right now everybody gets to select one person, and they get to claim one person and one goodie, and those are free. Now with their remaining creation tokens, once we get through the free ones, folks will have an opportunity if they wanted to either combine some people or take a follower or someone that they know, a contact, right? Or get an extra goodie, maybe get a hideout or something like that from landmarks. There are some options with your creation tokens. And if you don't spend them on that, then we'll be able to use them as part of the character creation process. So they'll actually turn into discover tokens, and you'll be able to use them to basically just buff your character a little bit more in their stats instead of adding something narratively like this. But we'll get to that. Let's see. Let's move on. So everybody will also get to choose a free goodie. And let's go reverse order this time. I think that's fair. Let's have, and remember, if someone picks the thing that you want, we can work that out. We have a method for that madness. All right. So Drew,
That's what. Yeah. See how smart I am into deferring Adam, so that I get to go first now.
Oh, I see. I see what it is.
Tricky.
Oh man. Look, there's a really obvious one, right? There's Phylactery's Muse, which is his gun.
That would make sense. It would also potentially be interesting if he didn't have it.
I know.
I'm good either way.
You know what? I am going to take the discount pack of ammo.
Nice.
The labels were scratched off and no one knows what the canisters do.
All right.
That's fun.
Discount pack of ammo. Looking for that.
Blackbeard
All the
is
way
a
at the bottom.
Dangerous
Oh, yeah.
man.
Nice. All right, so you get that. All right, Adam, what about you?
Phylacteries music. I'm kidding. No.
Yeah.
No. I think I would like to take the Lore Keeper's Iron Spire.
Lore Keeper's Iron Spire, and yeah. Okay,
Heck yeah.
cool. Yeah, that matches your character very well. All right, and Katie. Oh, first off, does anybody want one of those things? Because you could have them if you really wanted them.
For the low price.
Of some creation tokens.
Of fighting.
Guys, I'm just really shocked that the black cowboy hat and the best hat are still on the table. What's happening right now?
Listen,
Yeah.
If I could take it also, I probably would have.
Okay. That's
You
fair.
may still get your chance.
There's so many options for this
So many good options.
person.
You should take the black hat.
And the duster. Like, oh.
Right, for an entertainer. The duster, the cowboy hat, or the shoe.
The shoe.
He's gonna. Yeah, he's gonna take the duster. Yeah, that's exactly what he's gonna
The
do.
duster.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well, we have to figure out what kind of dragon that was. That'll be important. Okay. And then M, you're last.
I feel like since Susie Callahan reluctantly works for Dusters and Dragons, she would have the Dusters and Dragons Adventurer Starter Kit. Maybe it was part of like her onboarding. Maybe she's supposed to
Nice.
sell it to people, but she has one.
She's
Nice.
required to say it's trademarked at all times.
Yes.
She's a door-to-door
There it is.
starter pack salesperson. It's
So
like,
everyone who walks by the gift shop,
yeah,
starter pack, TM.
it's really like an internship.
Right. You have to sell X amount.
All right. Well, now that we've got that sorted out, we can move on to additional claims. So everybody can make more claims if they want. And the way that works, I'm kind of reading here as I go because it's been a little while since we've done this. But yeah, so again, everybody will take turns, and we'll just reverse it again like we did last time. If someone chooses something that you want, then you can still potentially fight for it, but it depends. So the max anyone can bid for something is 3 create tokens. And so if you come out with another claim, right, you can say how much you want for it, but let me clarify a couple of points. First off, you can only have so an extra goodie costs 2 create points. An extra person or place, if you want to like merge someone's stuff into your character, then those only cost 1. However, you can bid more in advance if you think someone else might want the thing that you're going to take. So if you say, boy, I would really like that black cowboy hat. It fits one head and one head only, and that is my head, right? And so if you want that, then you can take it. And if you have 3 create tokens, you could say, I want it for 3, and then no one can argue with you. However, if you say 2 and then someone else says, but I want it more, and they offer 3, then they give you their 3, and you don't get it. So that's how that works. So
Do
let's.
they give that person their 3, or does
Yes.
the 3 go to the?
Yeah, it actually goes to that person. So
Okay, cool.
so at least they get to go back in and get something else.
Fair.
They even have that opportunity to say, I want something else, and I can take it even if you only had 2 leftover create tokens, because I'll scroll over and show, but there's only one player with 3 create tokens left.
Oh man.
Yeah. So there's really only one person that could lock something down if they wanted to. And we're talking, so I'm actually going to move this marker now, because you could potentially take a landmark. Whoa. Now as well, if you wanted to. If you thought, and you could even go into the old ones and say, well, Old Abe's dump, that is my hideout, right? Or something like that. You could take anything from landmarks, people, or goodies. And the landmarks and people cost 1. The goodies cost 2 minimum. And remember, anything that you leave on the table in terms of create tokens, those go into your attribute points, your available attribute points when we move into character creation. So just to give you the heads up on how many points everyone gets then, you get 10 to divide up. So having an extra 3, it's significant, right? So Em, what do you think?
My goodness. I think I'm going to save mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Katie.
He really wants the black cowboy hat. So for 2, we would like the cowboy hat.
Okay. Would anyone else like the black cowboy hat more? No one else has 3.
I have the high ground.
You sure do. Well played. All right. So go ahead and mark that on your creation tokens just so we know what you've got. All right. Back to Adam.
So a goodie would drain me.
Yep.
So the other options are people, landmarks, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So for people, is it follower or like an ally? Like what's the depth of the?
Yeah. So we would work that out together, right? It could it could work as an ally. It could work as I want this to be part of the persona of my character and not. So we would take some of the elements, right? Maybe not the name. And combine it into your character. It would give you from the other thing that we get, right? Each character comes with boons and banes, and so do goodies. Well, goodies come with boons, generally speaking, but depends on what type of game you're playing. We've got some different playstyle options, but in general, it comes with goodies, comes with boons, and those things make you cool. Boons and banes are basically what makes your character unique and interesting.
Okay. So I'm thinking something to do with possibly Surcut, Archspark of the Techromancers. I was thinking either taking him as I have some kind of professional relationship with him, or conversely, like what you said as well, roll that into my character.
Yeah.
So my character would have 2 titles. Archspark of the Techromancers and Chapter Master of the 4th Division.
Right.
Trying to decide. Does anyone else have any thoughts? Polling for thoughts.
Polling for thoughts. I don't have any real strong thoughts about it. I think it would be interesting to have it be another person that you can basically you can call on, and he sort of shows up when you need him and that type of thing, right? Or you
let's do that.
Yeah.
You guys go to the same cigar club.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. So let's go with Surcut as a ally, friend, something to that effect.
And you're spending 1 creation
Yes,
token on
I will
that?
spend 1 creation token.
Okay. And Drew, did you want to steal Surcut?
I'll let Adam have them.
Okay.
Aw,
That's
thanks,
so
Drew.
nice of you.
I think if it were any other context.
All right. What about you, Drew? Any additional claims?
Yeah, I'm really trying to think of phylactery. Goodies. Did you say? I'm sorry. Did you say goodies were 1 or 2?
Goodies are 2, people and landmarks are 1.
Okay. I have a couple of thoughts here. Can I discuss with the group?
Sure.
Okay.
That's what this
So
is
my
all
first-
about.
Yeah, my first thought is taking Old Abe's dump as a hideout, because it would make sense that the phylactery as like an inventor probably would be hanging out at a place that had a lot of scrap items to tinker with, right? Even though he's not the tinkerer, Old Abe is. Maybe Old Abe was like a mentor to him and helped him find his path to inventing the dragon flame weapons. So I'm thinking that could be a good, useful place.
Does Abe know he's there, or did he like build a fort for himself and he scurries out and gets things and like goes back?
Like a mad scientist
Uh-huh.
secret lair within. Okay.
Like the dump is so big, he
And
just
he says,
found
"Bye,
a spot.
Abe, I'm going home now." But really, he goes to his secret lair.
I mean, that definitely could be in the cards. The other thing that I was considering, I don't know. That might be the one.
It's cool. It's thematic.
Yeah.
I had also thought about Hartley O'Hare as a friend.
Yeah.
Because I like the obsession with Tiverton. Not that anything is happening.
Tiverton
there.
is fine. Tiverton
Yeah,
is
it's
fine.
just fine.
Yeah, don't even worry
He's
about
like
it.
Hartley O'Hare is just like the conspiracy theorist, right? Like Tiverton, man, that's the place. All the stuff goes down. I would think he's crazy. Like it's like the Joe Rogan of this world.
Oh, ho, Hartley.
I also really love the idea of keeping a couple of points, but that's not as fun. All right, I'm gonna go with Old Abe's dump for 1.
Old Abe's dump.
I know I said I wasn't gonna spend any, but can I spend 1? I didn't realize I had 2 left.
For sure.
I want to be friends with Calvin Harris.
Friends with Calvin Harris. Oh, dang. Let's find Calvin Harris.
He's second from the bottom.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
Doomed to die at the flame of the drakes. Unless... Okay. No problemo. Everybody mark their expenditures on their tokens.
Doing it now.
Okay. Awesome. So now here we are. This is what we've got. I think, let's see, how are we doing? We're doing good. We're doing good. All right. So let's take a minute and so I threw together, and I did this a while ago when we were doing playtesting. So this is not an official character sheet, but it is a character sheet, and it's what we're going to use for the purpose of this game so that everybody can have theirs and so that I can see them. So we put together some stuff on Google Sheet a while back, and this is they. So, and I've got a tab here with everybody's name on it, so you make sure and go to your tab, and you can go ahead and put in your character name and enter in some additional information about who you are and what you look like and what defines your personality. That is all 100% up to our cast. And they can talk about it together with one another if they like. If you want to develop already created relationships with each other in any way, you can do that at this time. That's all good. So I'll give everybody just a couple minutes to put that in. And while they do that, I'll talk a little bit more about Discover. So we're moving into Arium Discover now. And Arium Discover is the second book in our Arium trilogy, and it contains all the rules for character creation and also for role-playing within the Arium that you created using Arium Create. So the cool thing about Discover and the rules in it are they are self-contained, so you could run a game without having first created an Arium and Create. You could just take the rules for Arium Discover and you could use them to run a game of Aliens or The Princess Bride or whatever you want, right? I mean, I just picked two things that actually have RPGs and they're probably pretty good RPGs, so maybe play those. But the point that I'm making is you could take whatever setting you wanted and apply it and play with Arium Discover. It's fairly flexible and it's fairly streamlined. And so you won't find, like, character creation doesn't take too long. It takes a little bit, maybe 30 minutes, I want to say, somewhere in that neighborhood. And it's pretty quick in terms of, like, crunchy numbers and things like that you have to figure out. There's not a lot. You've got 4 key statistics. You've got mind, body, spirit, and social. Those are the ones you're going to assign points to. So our cast, they had some leftover creation tokens, and those will add to the 10 points that they get to spend when they buy their primary attributes. Those primary attributes then define the secondary attributes, and secondary attributes are all just created by averaging 2 primary attributes together. And there's a cool little graphic that we have for that we're working on, but it's not ready yet. So we'll have that when the book is ready. I showed some screen of the Create book the other day. The Discover book is not at that state where I can actually show the book because it hasn't been laid out yet and it still needs some revision and things like that. All right. Had a couple minutes. How's everybody feeling about their characters? We good to move on?
I just put my description. That's what I'm supposed to do, correct?
Yeah, who are
Cool.
you? How do you look? What defines your personality? Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Good.
I'm good.
All right. If everybody's good on that, and I was showing Emily's, I guess we could look at the others really quick. Okay, good. There's Drew's. Still working on the personality. Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And Adam's still got a little bit of stuff to do. Okay, well, that's fine. So I think you can fill in a little bit more of that in a minute. But let's move on to filling in those primary attributes. So as mentioned before, I think, did everybody end up with 1 point left? One
Yes.
creation token? Okay, well, that makes it really easy. So for your primary attributes, everyone will put in, you can divide up 11 points between those 4 areas: mind, body, spirit, and social. They all have to be at least 1. That's the only requirement. So you could make one of them, what would that be? 8. And you could make the other 3 1. And that would be really weird. You would have a really weird person on your hands. That's very, very not good at 3 things, 3 key things, and very, very good at the other one. I think that would maybe be interesting. If you had a 0 in one of these things, like if you had a 0 in body, then I guess you'd be a ghost. I don't know.
Oh, I have 11.
Well, that's interesting.
And I had auto-calculating values on these, but I do not anymore, so we're going to have to go through and do the calculations.
Oh man, you didn't tell me I have to do math on
Yeah,
screen.
I'm so sorry. I apologize. So the calculations are pretty simple, and I'll just start with offense if everybody's ready. Okay. So for offense, you're going to do the average of your body and your social divided by 2. So body plus social divided by 2, and then you round it up. Always round it up. So if you've got 6, it'll be 3.
Sorry, it was an average of body and
Body and social.
social for
Yeah.
offense? Okay.
Yep. For defense, it's the average of mind and body. For willpower, it's the average of mind and spirit.
I was an English major, so if I have a 5, that still rounds up to a 3, right?
Uh-huh. I'm
Okay.
struggling too.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yes.
It always rounds up. Yep.
Sweet.
Okay. For your presence, it's the average of your spirit and social.
Same numbers.
Yep. For your awareness, it's the average of your mind and social.
Oh.
And for your stamina, it's the average of your spirit and body.
Okay.
So the layout does a little cross thing where, anyway, you'll see it.
It's
Yeah,
a box and an X.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how it's laid out.
Yeah. All right. And then the last thing that we need to put together is health and resistance. So your health is the number of your, it's double the number, of your stamina. So whatever your stamina is, just times 2.
Ah, dang it.
Good. Mhm.
And your
Adam is struggling right now, man. So
and your
No.
and your resistance is half your defense.
Round up.
Still rounded up?
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone rounds down. Oh.
Resistance is useless.
All right.
Resistance, it's futile.
And now that we've
If
finished
you're doing
this
Hitchhiker's Guide to
portion,
Galaxy.
you can reset your create token value to 3.
Oh.
Hey, cool.
Ta-da.
And we'll use those during gameplay.
Sweet.
All right. Maybe I'll take just a minute and explain a little bit about what each of the attributes are so that we know how to use them in the game. The mind attribute represents characters' mental abilities. Those might include how smart or intelligent the character is, how strategically they can think, and so on. Body attribute represents characters' physical capabilities, and it might include how athletic, dexterous, and strong, etc. they are. It might even include a small portion of how physically attractive they are. Social represents the character's ability to interact with people in the world around them. Calling spirit is the character's connection between themselves and something more. That might be an ideal of faith, purpose, luck, magic, etc. Defense is how well a character can protect themselves. Offense is how well they can naturally attack others. Stamina is how long the character can naturally withstand hardship. Will is their natural gumption and determination. Awareness is how they will absorb information and notice things from their surrounding. And presence is their natural ability to command a room or attract attention. Health is like hit points, so that's just how much beating can you take before you go down. Resistance is your natural defense while not trying to defend. And damage is damage. Oh wait, we don't have damage. I removed that. Ha! Damage is the same as your offense. Okay. All right. So now what we need to do is we need to go through and decide what boons and banes your character may have, but we also need to make sure we list their goodies. And those are going to, so on the goodies side, you're actually going to include any additional people or locations that you selected. So what I want everybody to do is go ahead and input those in the description portion, and I'll highlight, so go ahead and put in your goodies. one per section, and nobody should have more than 3. I think everybody just has 2, right? So put in the name of that thing. And I don't know if there's enough space in that box, but what we have to figure out once you get them all just listed here is what do they actually do, right? So we created this narrative concept, this thing that sounded really cool, but we don't know what it does. I mean, we have an idea of what it does. So what we're going to do here is we will assign an actual bonus to the goodies, and we will say what that bonus is and how it works. So actually where you're going to put, I can't read that at all. It's really light. It's not good. So the description, where the description is, I told you a mistake. I told you this isn't a real character sheet, everybody. It's not for real. It's just for show. So where it says goodie number 1, that's actually where you write what the thing is. And then the description is where you say what its boon does. So I mentioned before,
Gotcha.
There's a couple of different ways to play in terms of like how do we make these characters and how good are they. And we're going to play a heroic style game. Because we said we want action-y adventure, right? And so that feels heroic to me in general. If we wanted something a little bit more tough, a little more difficult for characters, then we could use the hardcore mode, and that makes it considerably more difficult for them. It doesn't change anything with your primary attributes. It only changes the number of boons and banes that both their characters and their goodies get. But we're going to play the heroic style. So what that means is your goodies, your free goodie that you selected, gets 1 boon. Okay? Your goodie, if you paid for a goodie, if you paid 2 for a goodie, because that was pretty expensive, it actually gets 2 boons. No banes.
No banes.
Yeah.
Oh man, I have no idea what my Dusters and Dragons starter kit, adventure kit TM does.
It has to do something.
Well, you
It's
gotta
for
sell it.
adventuring.
We can talk about that. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it might be really good at luring in city folk who come to the territories looking for adventure. Maybe you can, as long as you've got one of them there starter kits, you can catch their ear. I don't know. Depends.
What if you used it for social interactions? And
Yeah, it
like,
could
when
be
you're
like
trying
that.
to-
Or it could just be that it's actually really handy when you're out and about, and it helps you with maybe with your stamina rolls, or maybe with I don't know. Could be anything, really. Why would it do that, though? That's what's interesting, and that's what goes in the section where it says description. So you put the description for each boon, and you assign it a value. So I'm going to talk about those for a second while everybody is thinking about what they want their boons to actually be. And those are always, the description of the boon and how it works is always going to be a conversation between player and GM. So I'll talk up through each of them, and so everybody who's watching hopefully will get a good sense of what that negotiation should look like and how it works. But generally, if they come up with something and I say, that's great, right? Or I might look at it and say, ooh, it could be a little better. Here's how we might make it better, like either more powerful or maybe more narratively appropriate, right? But generally, we're just going to go through and we'll work them. So let's talk just a little bit about what the boons do. So I'm going to use an example of the old rusty pistol that never misses, right? So maybe I have an old rusty pistol that never misses, and that is my goodie that I picked up in whatever game I'm playing. Now I'm going to assign it to be good at something potentially, and what it's going to be good at is it's going to improve my offense. So it will make my offense rolls better. It won't make my damage better, but it will make my offense rolls better when I'm rolling to hit something. And so as long as I'm using it, so then I have to decide, what do I want that to look like? And there's a couple ways to do that. So we have a list of 4 different types of boons. We've got the plus 2d to a dice pool, which means that if you had a low offense, right, then you would have, so basically your attributes when you're rolling them, you're rolling that number of dice. So if you're rolling 3 of offense, and I'm looking at Drew's sheet right now,
Yeah.
you're rolling 3 dice, and if you had that rusty pistol, then you would add 2 dice to it, and so you'd be rolling 4. And you're looking for target number of successes in this game, so it's a dice pool target number of successes on d6s. And so I'm going to roll, normally I would roll 3 d6, and I'm looking for 5s and 6s. My GM's going to tell me how many I need. I maybe only need 1, maybe I need 2, maybe I need more. Turns out I got 2, and so I probably would have done the thing that I wanted to do, because 3 is actually a pretty hard thing in this game. But if I had that boon where my rusty pistol gives me 2 plus 2 dice, I'd be able to roll 5, and then I'm still looking for 5s and 6s. But in this case, well, I actually only rolled 1, but hopefully that would have been enough.
Dice gods are funny.
Yeah, they are fickle. So that's one option, and that is a 1-point boon. So it only costs you 1 point. The next one is gain advantage, and that means that you basically just gain advantage on your roll, which is that, sorry, it's 4s, 5s, and 6s that you succeed on instead of just 5s and 6s. The next one is you add 1 dice that has an automatic 6. And this is a little weird and a little different. So you've got your 3 dice, you're going to roll those, and then you're also going to set down 1 dice that has a 6 on it already. So you have a total of 4 dice. I rolled a 5, I have a 6, I got 2 successes. So that's good. The reason why that one's kind of good sometimes is because we actually have a crit mechanism, which comes into play when you are rolling and you get half or more of the dice that you roll are actually 6s. So that one gives you 1 step toward a crit. The next one is the last one. That's the re-roll option. So you're going to re-roll anything that comes up a 1 no matter what, and that is a 2-point boon. So you can't get it on a goodie or an ability unless you have enough points to spend for boons. I'm not going to go into Banes right now because we'll get to those. So let's talk. What are you thinking?
Well, I'll start off. I've been thinking about this quite a bit with my discount box of ammo. So are you saying that there's not a way for me to take the reroll ones, the 2-point boon, or because now I have 3 creation tokens again, I can use them?
With the 2-point boon, you can. So I mentioned one of them is a 2-point boon, and I'll let you switch whichever one of them you want, I suppose. Right?
I see what you're saying. If I would have bought a goodie,
yeah, and you didn't have that information beforehand, so it's fine. If you bought another thing, so yeah, normally what it is you can't select that one unless you've got a couple points in boon. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that you won't later have points to assign to your boons, and you could get it at another time.
Yeah. Okay. My original train of thought there, like narratively, to figure out this discount box of ammo or these random unlabeled canisters, is that they were like a little bit like either past their shelf life, or maybe they were like a specialty order that were really well made, and so very rarely did they. So I had two trains of thought. If they were past their expiration, like maybe they just gave a bigger potential for a bigger bang, which would be the plus 2D in my mind. But if they were like expertly made, then I was going to go the reroll ones route to know that they were much more reliable than normal ammo. So just because I don't want to rewind and reverse stuff, I'm just going to stay with the way I purchased it.
Okay.
So I'm going to do the boon as they're past their expiration, and so that'll grant a plus 2D advantage for potentially being more explosive than they were as they ferment or something like that. I don't know.
Okay. That's good. I like it.
They have become magically unstable.
Perfect. That one's easy. All right. And then for Old Abe's Dump, that one you'll get one boon for, and you have to figure out how it works. So think about this a little bit.
Okay.
It's a location. So when does its boon come into effect? So think about that as you work through that one, and I'll come back to you. Let's do somebody else. Who's got one that's ready to go?
Think I do.
Okay, let's do yours, Em.
So I gave it a name because I always do that. I said, how'd they fit all this in here? So I was thinking, like, if she's ever out trying to survive, kind of like what you were saying, she can, like, search through the bag and, like, have, like, if it's really hot out, she puts a poncho on, or if, like, she needs a drink, oh, look, they had a flask in here. And so it gives her a bonus to, like, her stamina checks when she needs it.
Okay.
So I went with the 2D because it gives her a chance to, like, oh, hey, yeah, they had exactly what I needed here.
Perfect. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that. Alrighty. Who's next?
I have one.
Okay.
For both of them, but
Let's do Katie. Let's do your first one.
I kind of played with the boon or the bane already too, but I did a boon of but is it? It is, isn't it? And it's a bonus to defense on the plus 2D. So is it a dragon skin? Isn't it? But is it?
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah. That's good. And the disadvantage is interesting. So there's some possibility here, right? You could potentially exchange a disadvantage not a disadvantage, but a bane for a boon if you wanted to add one more boon to it. I think I'd allow that, at least today, just for an example. I don't know if we'll get that far into working on characters to do it later, but that is part of the potential mechanic for growing your character over time. Otherwise, you can just remove the bane.
Yeah. I was just playing.
Okay.
So just to clarify, because I wasn't sure if I understood that, you're saying she could take a bane in order to give herself a secondary boon.
Yeah.
Is that right? Or she can just get rid of the bane altogether.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But generally speaking, those things are going to show up narratively in the game often, right? And so what's going to happen is you'll be playing along and there might be a moment when your goodie or whatever might seem like, gosh, I wish it was narratively relevant like this, right? And maybe you want to spend a creation token for that to happen, or for an outstanding result, right? Like maybe you wanted to change something a little bit, right, about what we're playing through. And so you could spend a creation token while you're playing, and you could give yourself like an automatic success, or you could, do something like that. And then what you get to go with that, every time you spend a creation token in that way, is you get a sticky note, and you get an item on the Trello board, right? And we'll say, hey, this was for the time when you spent a creation token to do blah blah blah, right? And then you get an opportunity to say a true thing about our world, right? You could basically create a new location, a new goodie, a new person, something like that, or you can modify one that already exists. And so you write that thing down, and then at the end of the session, when you're doing downtime activities, then that you'll have another little vote off from everybody who spent creation tokens, right? So you want to make it cool, and if you can help make it somewhat beneficial to people besides just your character, then that's even better, because then other people will probably vote for it. Okay.
That's neat.
All right. Let's go. Adam, you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
So, okay, quick kind of question about techromancers.
Mm-hmm.
As far as what they can do, are we thinking they're kind of like, so they have access to the technology of this ancient civilization, like they're the ones who are sort of the sole finders and probably have some degree of access to that. So I was thinking, like, sort of, I guess in a quote unquote mechanical sense, are techromancers like mages, but they don't draw on their magic from like the ether. They draw on it from this technology. Does that sound reasonable to the party at large? Or did someone who created techromancers have a different concept in mind?
So I think that I created techromancers, and this can be completely up to interpretation. My thought process along it was that mutations were what gave us was magic. I don't think we talked about if the mutations came from tech itself. And I was just thinking techromancers would potentially have access to items that give them magic-like abilities. Don't know if it's actually magic or not.
Okay,
I don't know if
that's what I was meaning. Like, but like in an effect sense, sort of like the difference between, in like D&D, the difference between like a wizard and an artificer, right? Like a wizard actually prepares spells. They both technically prepare spells, but the wizard, it like draws on power of like knowledge, known things, whatever, energy. Whereas with an artificer, it's technically spells, but like in world, it's like they made a little device or something. Are we saying that that's kind of the similar?
That was my thought
function
process.
with the
yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking with the Lorekeeper Spire, the Lorekeeper's Iron Spire. So, it's either a boon for like knowledge-related things or something dealing with crafting or somehow leveraging that sort of technology. Perhaps it itself is a ancient civilization.
The spire
artifact?
is an ancient civilization. Oh, it's an artifact.
No, yes, okay. Artifact. Sorry, I was trying to think of the word.
So,
that can be tapped into to do things. I'm cool. Thinking it either provides a benefit for quote unquote spell casting, or for like it's somehow like a repository of knowledge. One of those two things is what I was thinking for.
Yeah, quote unquote spellcasting, you could probably stack that with a boon on your character if your character is a spellcaster type of person, right? So a boon on your character might be the type of magic that they can do and what kind of bonuses you get to doing that. So that could work. I'll say I want to just tag on to the idea of how Techromancer stuff works just a little bit. I want to say that it's got like a heart of something, some element that came from the ancient technology, and that we don't create that on our own. We have to find it. You have to find it, and then you can imbue modern stuff with it. So I'm going to say the Iron Spire is something that it was one of the first artifacts maybe created from an original ancient civilization artifact. But it's kind of like, so I'm saying what you get from those ancient civilization things are like, it's kind of like an infinity stone or something, right? So you've got that, and it's sitting in the middle of, the big blue cube that does the cool stuff, right?
Sure.
Yeah, but you can't work it without some stuff built around it to make it work.
Okay. So then is the Iron Spire a thing unto itself that I can use for like some kind of magical attack then? Is that what you're describing? Or
no,
like,
you could do that, or it could have a benefit to your whatever your character becomes good at, right? When we do the boons that you get. So you're going to get 2 boons on your character and a bane.
Sure.
So we'll get to all of that, but
okay. So I'm trying to think of how I would mark that down.
So you just got to say, helps with my magical abilities.
I'll just call them techromancy.
Yeah, helps with techromancy. Yeah.
Helps with techromancy. Cool. And so, it's sorry, I know you said it, but I
Yeah.
was sitting here thinking, and so I kind of I heard some of it. So it's 1 point. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So it's like
which
I
means
do
you can get the +2 dice, the advantage, or the auto 6. The reroll ones is off the table because you don't have 2 points.
Sure. I'm thinking. Sorry. I'm sure you explained this. What is advantage again in this system?
Yeah, advantage. So when you're rolling d6s, you're looking for a target number of dice that get a 5 or a 6. If you have advantage, it's
bumps
4,
it.
5, 6.
Okay, that's a nice one.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go with advantage.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. All right. Let's restart the order. We're back to Drew.
Yeah.
Tell us about Old Abe's Dump.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the best way to leverage this, and I feel like it feels a little bit to me almost like our guy Lister with the packs, right? Like I feel like the dump serves as a place where Phylactery will just say like, oh, you know what, I think I have that back at my spot, right? Like where it just he has just a random assortment of things. So my first thought was that it would be some sort of advantage to like obtaining like obscure resources or random things that like, oh, we need that thing, yes, I bet you I have it back at my place.
Yeah.
Don't know if that makes a ton of sense or not.
Yeah, I think it does. I think that would be good. So, yeah, so your roll for that would probably be, I'll say awareness, right?
Okay. Yep.
So you can give yourself an advantage of some sort when you're rolling awareness to find a thing that you need.
Okay. So yeah, if awareness is going to be there, like if I'm really trying to think about making this as useful as possible, I feel like maybe I think the auto 6 is what I want to go with there.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense.
Okay.
You see some,
So I just called it. I have
crits
that
in
back
your
at
future.
Yeah. I just called it. I have that back at my place.
I have that back at my place. That's great. That's a great way to name it. I love it. All right. Emily.
Okay, so I have Calvin Harris, and I've never actually done this with a person before, so I might need some guidance.
Okay.
I figured he was obviously trouble, right? Because he's being fed to dragons.
Yeah.
So I was thinking his bonus could be called Huff This. And he has little inhalants for people to take.
Yeah.
And so I was going to give myself an auto 6 to offense when I huff this.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know if he needs a bane because he's obviously got a bad rep. Is it shady that I'm associated with him at all? I don't know. That's why I wanted to.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting from a role play.
I don't know if it gives you
Yeah.
a bane, but yes, I think there's
Okay.
for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. That's Calvin.
Awesome. All right, Katie.
So I did the only head of its kind, which gives an advantage to presence.
Yeah. Perfect.
Nice.
Love it so much.
All right, Adam.
So Circut, Arc Spark of the Techromancers. As far as boons, I'm thinking. So I guess maybe this can be taken one of two ways. I'm imagining Arc Spark could be like a leader of the Techromancers, or conversely, could be a champion, like some kind of, heralded figure. So I guess for who wrote Circut, when you thought of Arc Spark, Archspark, did you think of it in the context of like a leader or more like a champion?
Yeah, I definitely thought of him as like the head of the Techromancers.
Okay.
And I wrote it originally as Archspark, but Arcspark is so much better for it's so much better, right? Like,
Okay.
so
I'll drop the H.
yeah, I'm all for Arcspark. But I definitely saw him as like the figurehead of like the Pope or something of
Okay.
the Techromancers for sure.
Okay.
The Pope of Techromancy.
So because I was going to change whether like I wanted the boon for this character to be more like my character knows a lot about Techromancy, but like this guy, Sir Cut, is like literally next level kind of.
I mean, he could also be like the person that can introduce you to anybody, or right, like.
So would boon like head of the Techromancers be a boon unto itself? Like that's like a big deal, or is that too broad of a boon?
Head of the Techromancers.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what that would entail. Actually, now that I even think about it, like that to me doesn't even seem all that descriptive.
But what's his relationship to you? Why?
That's a good
Why is he helpful to you? Let's make it the boon about that.
Okay.
You're engaged to his daughter.
Oh dang.
So I mean, he's technically my boss. I probably directly report to him if I'm a chapter master.
Yeah, I mean that seems like it would make sense in the hierarchy, right? Chapter masters report to the Arcspark.
So I mean, and I mean, in like a pseudo religious sense, it could be that like he knows of things and has access to things that I just don't. Like, you know, there's sort of like, does that make sense? Like rings of knowledge, essentially. Like I'm like right there, but like he is aware of things about the ancient civilization that I don't. So I'm thinking maybe like a knowledge related boon might be good.
Yeah. To nerd it up, it would be like you're Coulson and he's Fury, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's actually good. That's actually a good metaphor for it. Okay, so as far as a boon, perhaps would like secret knowledge be a boon? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a way to do this. Okay,
yeah, maybe
he
answers. Maybe he answers your questions with his secret knowledge when needed.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
that's cool. Awesome.
Okay, so
that's a great
knowledge.
one.
And is that like an auto 6? Does that seem like
works for me?
Or just advantage?
You do you. Whatever you think makes sense. As long as you've got the point to spend.
Yeah, let's call that an auto 6. Okay. So like he'll at least know about everything in that word. Like maybe not detailed. There might still be things that are hidden to the civilization or whatever. And then a second boon. Oh, we're just doing one boon apiece going around. Or do you want me to do the other boon? He gets 2,
right? No, he doesn't get 2. He doesn't get 2 because he wasn't an actual goodie. If it was if you had spent 2 and it was an actual goodie, fine. I think there was someone that had one though, right? Did someone take a second goodie?
I need to think about it though.
I was sitting here trying to think of like what's another boon for him. This actually makes it easier. So I appreciate that he only has a win boon.
So while Katie thinks about that a little bit for the black cowboy hat, that thing is going to be magnificent, by the way. Let's go ahead and move on. So let's go back to Drew and let's talk about your character boons and banes. So I talked just briefly about what you're going to have assigned. So because we're playing a heroic game, you'll get 2 boons and 1 bane on your character. Every character's got to have at least one personality flaw or character trait that makes them a little bit, rough at times, I think. And so that's part of what makes life interesting, right? Wouldn't be able to tell a great story if everybody was perfect all the time. So what are you thinking for your boon and your banes? Just walk us through what Phylactery's got going for him.
Yeah, I feel like he's maybe morphine a little. I'm trying to keep him separate in my mind from old Abe, right? Because I feel like they both like Abe can do and fix anything, right? He's the MacGyver. Phylactery was a little more dedicated in his inventorship. So I could see some sort of I could see him having a boon with like being able to do some pretty special things, but only in the realm of like incorporating dragonfire canisters. Like he can only do stuff that revolves around that. But if he's got a canister, he can come up with some pretty funky stuff, right? Like he could make a bomb or a trap or blow his way out of a jail or something like that. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. I feel like I put in it for his personalities, growly and gruff, but loyal as a hound. I feel like he'll have the tendency for a Bane. That's the one that's really sticking out for me right now. Is that he'll have the tendency to like get on a soapbox and keep going, but his words eventually just kind of grumble together, so you can't really understand what he's saying, which will give him some sort of like social interaction Bane. Does that make? Am I thinking about these correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just have to figure out how to say that, and I'm a little stuck.
Okay. Well, do you want to think about it for a minute? We'll come back to you.
Sure.
Okay.
If someone else is ready. Otherwise, I'll just...
I got my cowboy boon.
Ooh,
There
let's
you
do
go.
that.
Hat boon.
Let's do that.
So
right.
my second hat boon is fits my head, and it's a reroll on ones for willpower.
Ooh. All right. All right. I like it. Okay. Let's do... Well, actually, you know what? That's 1 point too many. So the cowboy hat was a 2 point...
Oh, right, because that's a 2
Yep,
thing.
and that one costs 2.
You know what, we'll go that way then. We'll do plus 2d on
Okay.
willpower.
That works. Great.
Uncheck that one.
All right. I see some stuff for Emily coming in. Let's talk about your boons and your bane.
So
For
I was
Susie
thinking,
Callahan.
Susie Callahan has been working at Dusters and Dragons for a while, right? And so she's always been listening to stories and picking up names because she really wants to work for the Dust Girls. So I know a guy, and I was thinking that could go towards, I don't know if it would go towards presence or social. I don't know how that would work exactly. Sort of, she's like, okay, well, I know somebody who might know something because I was listening to this conversation and introduced myself, right?
I'm going to say social. I like that.
Okay. And then I was thinking that since she's working this life, she doesn't really like it. She wants this one. She's been kind of rebellious teen. So she knows Calvin Harris. And I was trying to think something along the lines of she knows a little bit about like the underworld. Like she knows where to get those huffers. She knows she hears those rumors as well. And I was thinking that could be to presence, but it would specifically be towards people of that group. And I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I mean that's how you just write it like that. So you could say, plus or whatever your bonus is for your boon, whatever the plus is to, presence in seedy underworld type scenarios, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
And then her bane is listening only goes so far. She's heard a lot of stuff, she's read a lot of stuff, but she's not actually that experienced. So I was thinking in high pressure situations for a while, she kind of ends up fumbling when she's too stressed out.
Okay.
Which is going to suck, but it'll be fun RP wise.
Yeah. Cool. I like it. Those are good. Let's go. Let's see. Adam, are you good? You want to talk boons and banes for
Sure.
Dr. Albrecht Strauss?
Sure.
Okay.
Let us see. Do I need a boon to do the Techromancer spellcasty stuff?
Yeah. You
Okay.
do.
So, do we just want to call it Techromancy?
Sure.
Or
Art of the spark.
What was that?
The art of the spark.
The art of the spark.
We'll call it that.
Okay.
And then +2 dice will do for that.
Okay.
Cool.
That's usually probably going to come from your willpower or maybe your offense in some cases. It just depends, right? But yeah. Okay.
Most of those are 3s, so it's fine, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah. It won't be stamina.
Okay, good. That's my only bad stat.
Okay. All right. And for your second one?
That's a good question.
Well, maybe think about that one and your bane a little bit, because you'll have one bane.
Well, I kind of already had something in mind for a boon.
Oh, okay.
It was going to be like a knowledge-related thing, sort of like knowledge of the ancients or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you'd
That's great.
Knowledge of the ancients. I mean, so that's kind of why I was thinking, like, so I'm a chapter master, but I think that's one of the reasons why I have the Lore Keeper's Iron Spire is because I'm like have earned like this degree of knowledge, I guess, within the Techromancers. So
that makes sense.
And then as far as a bane, maybe I'm trying to think of like a bane. Maybe he's like too blunt or too.
Maybe he doesn't like it when he breaks a nail. You never know.
Stubbornness, maybe? I don't know.
Stubbornness is good. Yeah.
Okay, let's go with stubborn.
Okay.
And we'll call that. What does auto 1 do?
Means you get a 1. Sorry, I didn't talk through the items on the banes. So the -2d is obviously 2 less dice than whatever you would normally roll. So say you would normally roll 3, you're actually rolling 1. So that one can be rough. If you have disadvantage, it is that you're going to get only 6s. Only 6s will be counted as a success on those rolls. And then your auto 1 works like the auto 6 in that you're still going to roll the same amount of dice that you would normally roll. So say we're going to roll a spirit roll, you roll 2 dice, and then you add a 1 that wasn't a 1, but you add a 1, so 1 extra dice. So if you're rolling something that's a really low number, like if you had a attribute that was a 1, for example, and you had that, then you would always have a have a hard time with that, right? Because you can I'm gonna forget. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go look this up because I can't remember what the name for it is. I want to say it's not a critical failure, it is a complication. So, yep, you can gain control if you roll 50% or greater of 6s, and that also gives you the opportunity to write one of these. If you have a complication, then it means that you're rolling 50% or greater of your dice come up 1s. That means I get to write one of these. So, Yeah.
Okay. I don't have. Well, let's do auto 1. That sounds interesting.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that's just when I would be faced with situations where my character would act stubbornly, right?
Mhm.
That's not just a flat auto 1.
Yeah, obviously it would work with in situations where maybe presence or social might be necessary. Um, Potentially
Okay.
some others, but it just depends, right? But
Sure.
definitely more, I'll let you know when you need to care about it type of thing,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. All
Awesome.
right. Let's go to, let's see, we did Emily's. Did you give yourself an extra minus, Emily?
That was an accidental click. I didn't even notice until you
Okay.
said something.
See, these aren't real character sheets. They're awful. All right.
No, this is great.
Let's
I
do
love it.
Let's do Katie's.
Okay. So I think I've got him down. The first one I have is now this was just the other day, which is a plus 2D on social. So when he's telling a story, he can really tell that story.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And then to kind of go along with that, I can talk all day long. And an advantage, but I'm not sure whether I want it to stamina or body.
Okay.
One of those.
Probably,
just trying to make
probably. Probably stamina.
Yeah, I'll do that. So
Yeah.
stamina, so he can. So those two kind of go hand in hand.
Those are great.
And then my bane is I was busy making it all up. So he talks so much and makes up so much that his awareness is at a disadvantage because he's trying to entertain and tell stories, and
Makes
that's where
perfect
his focus is.
sense.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Those are great.
All right. Let's go back to Drew.
Yeah, I'm ready. I landed on a couple here. So,
Awesome.
my first boon is just give me a second. And that is MacGyvering things with canisters, where he gets advantage on rolls to make something out of nothing with a canister.
Yes.
I also gave him the handshake of a farmer, which gives him immense strength in his hands for. And so I figure any sort of strength test that would involve his hands gives him an auto 6. I'm thinking like not only from being able to hold things or bend things, but also for like an intimidating handshake or something like that. Give him an auto 6 on stuff like that. And then for Banes, I gave him Go Ram Kids these days, where he gets an auto 1 on first impressions.
Yeah.
Great.
Those are very good. Very well.
I like it.
Yeah. Yep. Great examples. All right. Did we miss any? We got them all?
I think so.
Yeah. I think we did.
I'm so excited, guys. I love this process, man. This is so cool.
So let's have everybody go ahead. You should hopefully you've got your who are you, how do you look, and what defines your personality. Let's have everybody just read theirs. We'll start with Emily.
So, I'm Susie Callahan. I work at Dusters and Dragons. I have myself some sandy brown hair, brown eyes, and way too many freckles. Mama's always getting on my case about that. When it comes to me, I guess I just really want to join that Dust Girls lifestyle, get some adventure and some danger in my life instead of this boring stuff.
Yes. All right. That's fantastic. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. Let's have Katie read hers.
Okay. I am Hickory Howard, or Double H as I'm known. I am a traveling entertainer and storyteller. I am strong-jawed. I have a dashing smile and the greenest eyes you have ever seen. I will rival a tree in that green. I am average height, and my duster drags just a little bit on the ground. I will fix it one day. I just don't have those funds yet. and I just want to tell you all my stories. You will be entertained by all my stories. Just listen here.
Yes. Awesome. Drew.
Yes. Okay. I was just updating one thing really quick here. All right. So Phylactery is who is he's the inventor of the dragon flame gun. Go ram it. You've heard of me. You better have. He's a little bit past his prime, however. And that actually helps to shape his personality. He fixates on the good old days quite a bit. Growly and gruff, but loyal as a hound dog. Just doesn't mince words, doesn't like to speak too much, has a gravelly voice.
You and Double H are going to get along real well.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right. I'll let the little kids flap their jaws for a while. Doesn't mean much. So, he has ice blue eyes and a flame-scarred face as a freak accident in his inventorship practices. A canister blew up in his face. But he has
accident or inevitable accident?
I'm sure we could come up with a story for that.
And just very, very, very strong, like farmer strength sort of thing, right? Just even though he's old, he's way stronger than you would think a man of his life experience would be.
Cool. All right. And Adam.
I am Dr. Albrecht Strauss, chapter master of the Techromancer 4th Division.
Love it.
I am advanced in age, so I am white-haired, handlebar mustache, goatee, and I wear circular spectacles, a wide brim hat, and Techromancer robes.
Ooh, tell us what Techromancer robes look like.
Ooh, they are.
Do they have LEDs?
Stop it.
Please.
So most of it is made of like a durable material, but there are some components that are like interwoven that give it kind of trimmings that look like they give off a sheen. They seem to be able to like conduct electricity possibly around them. Use it as sort of a channel. They're rugged, so they're meant to be worn like out in the wilderness for like when techromancers are going digging for finding technology and such. So they can take a beating. They're probably weathered at this point, pretty well worn, but still in good condition. And then Dr. Albrecht has his personality. He is pensive, intellectually curious, often lost in his own thoughts, and comes across as stern, though usually unintentional.
Awesome.
I need to work on my accent.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
That is a perfect high adventure accent.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, that took a little longer than I had planned, and so I think this is probably a good spot for us to end tonight, and we'll pick up next week with some actual adventure. How's everybody feel about that?
That sounds awesome.
That sounds
good to me.
So good, man. This was a blast. I do want to just call out, I changed my boon for Old Abe's Dump to just the title of it to say, yeah, I got one of them in the barn. So sorry, but yeah, this was just as fun as creating the Arium itself, man. This was a blast.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Thanks for having us.
with that